Look around any modern office, and you'll see professionals completely buried under the weight of complex workflows and repetitive chores. Time has become our most depleted resource, swallowed up by a relentless pileup of daily obligations. When we hit that wall of exhaustion, the reflex is usually to just hand things off. We assume we can dump a project onto a junior employee's desk, or type a vague prompt into an AI chatbot, and instantly clear our plate. But blind offloading consistently backfires. Hastily hiring the wrong people to take the load introduces friction and drags down company culture. Similarly, trusting an AI with a messy process results in confident hallucinations and unusable outputs. Successful delegation relies on a meticulously constructed environment. You can't actually hand a system over until you've done the hard work of preparing that system to be received. To survive the sheer volume of the modern workplace, a leader has to master the underlying architecture of the handoff itself. This architecture remains the same, whether the recipient runs on a heartbeat or a processor. That architecture begins with problem awareness. To define success, you must fracture that monolithic, undefined project into distinct, manageable components. Once isolated, those tasks naturally sort themselves into 3 distinct buckets: routine chores, thinking partnerships, and critical human judgment. Skipping this internal audit sets your recipient up to fail. Without a clearly defined problem and a structured goal, even the most advanced language model or the most talented executive assistant will just end up spinning their wheels. Delegation begins by translating a vague headache into a measurable, repeatable system. This clarity is the prerequisite for any handoff. Once the problem is defined, we enter capability matching. This requires you to deeply vet the specific entity receiving the task, rather than treating all employees or all software programs as interchangeable parts. On the human side, it means identifying high-performing talent, people who think critically and expect an upward trajectory, while actively removing unmotivated workers from your organization. On the technical side, this is known as platform awareness. You must evaluate different large language models based on their unique parameters, deciding whether a specific task requires computational speed or deep accuracy. You also have to consider integration. An AI model can't execute complex workflows in a vacuum. It requires custom extensions to reach out and pull data from disparate sources, connecting your email, databases, and calendars into one network. Successful capability matching demands that you intimately know the strengths and the limitations of both your digital tools and your human team before you assign them to the workflow. That brings us to task delegation. This is the moment where a leader transitions from micromanaging every step of a process to exclusively evaluating the final results. When executing this handoff with a human team, the mechanism relies on a foundation of mutual loyalty, intentional overcommunication, and a track record of integrity. With machines, the handoff requires you to strategically divide the labor across a workflow timeline. You have to decide which nodes should be fully automated by code, which should augment a human worker, and which decisions must be reserved for human execution. Trust is never immediate. You cannot assign a complex task and walk away on day one. Trust has to be earned through continuous, iterative testing and proven competency over time. Ultimately, true delegation functions through verified trust. By confirming competence through testing, a leader can step away from the daily grind and focus on higher-order strategy. Once that trust is established, repetitive labor vanishes. AI quietly runs in the background, compiling raw data, drafting initial code, and summarizing thousands of communications. Your highest-performing team members can then take those instantly generated foundational pieces and apply their unique judgment, focusing their energy on high-level strategy and creation. This structural shift makes the concept of manual grunt work seem outdated. Spending hours manually pulling numbers into a spreadsheet will soon seem as historically absurd as using a floppy disk or waiting for a fax machine. The future of work will not reward the professional who simply grind the hardest. It will elevate those who can orchestrate these complex hybrid systems. Orchestrating these systems has become a technical necessity. Understanding the architecture of the handoff is what allows a professional to remain effective in an automated landscape.